Hi, I'm your host, Michelle Poverman, a former anxious empath turned mostly grounded psychotherapist, intuitive guide, and energy healer, and this is Into the Work. And it isn't just a podcast. It's your actual invitation to break free from old patterns, end the cycle of your self-abandonment, and finally step into the life your soul has been craving. Each episode is a spark to help you rise higher, to help you shine brighter and reclaim the truth of who you really are. The spark has already been lit. And sister, this is a journey from spark to brilliance. So together, let's go ignite a fire. Hi, welcome back to the show. We're talking about healing your upper chakras. Let me ask you a couple questions. Have you ever swallowed your words because you didn't want to rock the boat and then ended up spending the entire evening or maybe the entire week feeling completely resentful? Or maybe you've caught yourself over-explaining again. You're talking in circles, you're giving way too many details, and still you're walking away like nobody actually heard you. Or maybe this sounds familiar. You get an intuitive nudge about something, but instead of trusting it, leaning into it, believing in it, or perhaps making space to dive a little deeper, you second guess yourself. You don't really know how to hold that. You ask 3 friends for their opinions, you read 5 different articles, and before you know it, the entire moment has passed. And then there are those times when you wonder, am I even on the right path? How did I get here? Like maybe there's a bigger purpose out there and you just can't seem to grab hold of it. If any of this at all feels familiar, it's not random. These are signs that your upper chakras, which include your heart, which is the 4th chakra, your throat, which is the 5th, your third eye, which is the 6th chakra, and the crown, which is the top of your head, which is the 7th chakra. This is a sign that potentially they're all calling for your attention. Now, today we're going to dive into blocks in these chakras, how they show up in your life, especially around expression and intuition and purpose. And I'll share simple ways to start bringing them back into balance, okay? Let's jump in. We're going to start with the heart chakra. The heart chakra is the 4th chakra, and it is the great balancing act of your energetic body. Okay. The heart chakra is magnificent. It literally balances out the chakras below with the chakras above. And it is always working to help bring you into a state of peace and balance and open-heartedness so that every part of you that we talked about last week, those lower chakras as well as the upper chakras, get to experience balance at times of your life. It always is trying to bring it back. They may be moments of experiencing fully balanced chakras and then moments where, of course, they get screwed up because we're human here. And so this is what we're going to do. The next time somebody wants to give you something, they want to give you a compliment, I want you to not deflect it. I don't want you to say, oh, it was nothing. I just want you to let it in, right? I want you to start small. That's how we retrain yourself to give and receive in balance. And so whatever this receiving activity is going to be for you this week, I want you to just look out for it. I really want you to look at how many times people are trying to support you. I want you to really put yourself into the position of this abundant thinking that so many people, so much love is coming your way, so much, receivership is possible for you to practice. And I want you to just look for opportunities for you to be really good at receiving and just saying thank you. That means so much. That would be wonderful. Thank you, right? And for whatever the receiving is for you in your life, I want you to really look out for it this week. And I want you to just take a couple times where you are not deflecting, you're not saying, no, I got it. I want you to sit, take a deep breath, calm the nervous system, right? Sometimes that's just a quick deep breath. Say thank you on the exhale, okay? And start there and just see if you can let that build upon it like a habit stacking, like you're building the habit of accepting other people's, whatever they're giving you, whatever it is that you are to receive. I do have a podcast episode on this. It's number 42 that you might love that if you're somebody that really needs to do some work on receiving. It's called the Season of Giving because it is during the holidays, but I don't talk about the holidays. It's just really all about how are you at receiving And being good at receiving is at the heart of abundance, intimacy, and connection. And that's all about that. So if you feel like, oh my gosh, yes, that's me, I need that, go check out podcast episode 42. All right. Now, the next chakra we're going to look at is chakra number 5. This is your throat chakra. This is expression and truth. Okay. This is a big one for women. This one is so big for women. Most of the women I work with really need help with the throat chakra. Now, when the throat is blocked, or underactive, you might be avoiding conflict, staying quiet, saying yes when you really want to scream no. You see, the throat chakra is all about being known, seen, taking up space. That's why it's so big for women, because most of us, when we were younger, received the messages to do the opposite, right? To be nice, to don't say anything if it's not nice. We want to look at the throat chakra is about it's not about being rude and you fix your throat chakra. It's about being kind, but it's about being truthful, authentic. The throat chakra is where you actually really meet other people in authentic relationship in a large way. It's a very important chakra for us. And if it's depleted, you're likely avoiding conflict. You're saying yes when you don't really want to. And so it leads into this really basic difference between being expansive and being constricted, right? Being shut down and being open and alive. Like that throat chakra is such a big deal for all sorts of reasons. If you are open to past lives, which you probably are if you're listening to my podcast, we also have a lot of harm done to the throat chakra in past lives. There's a lot of people that have been hung or experienced strangulation or had some sort of violent death upon having something to do with the neck, throat area. Or women expressing themselves in past lives that were shut down and hurt and harmed. And so there's a lot of baggage in this area for a lot of us. Even when I teach healing, when we do Reiki or healing modalities, we can't touch somebody else's throat chakra. I mean, imagine if someone came up and put their hand on your throat, right? There's such a visceral response for so many of us, like, then I can't stand it, right? I know I have some old baggage there. But, this is one of those chakras that we can really be seen as too much or not enough. Okay. So when it's overactive, we're looking at over-explaining, talking too much, taking up too much space, right? Like you're talking, you're interrupting people. You're talking so much sometimes that your real truth doesn't even come through. Have you ever talked with somebody who doesn't speak directly? Like, and this might be you or you've witnessed this. They speak so passively about what they want that you are left literally feeling like, I need a decoder. I don't know what you're saying, right? Like that was me for many years. I did not know how to speak directly. If I wanted something from you, I'd be like, so this other thing is happening over here and this other thing over there. And I'd be bringing you on a journey. It is still something I have to work on just because it's so habitual. If you notice this about yourself, you likely even have sort of like an overactive energy system there. And you might be, really just too passive. The shadow here, so one is depleted is like shrinking, being small, like avoiding conflict, staying quiet, not using your voice, right? It shuts down. You want to scream, but you have no idea how to find the language to say no. This is the extreme. And then the overactive is like the larger version, right? You're over-explaining, you're talking too much, you're interrupting people. So the shadow here often begins in families where emotions were not safe to be expressed. Somewhere along the way, you absorb the message that your truth doesn't matter or that it's not safe to speak it. It's one or the other. There's also ways we witness this, right? You had parents who told lots of little white lies instead of telling the truth. So it's so harmless, right? But if you witnessed, let's say you had a mom who always told little white lies. So like if she was going to cancel with one of her friends, she'd be like, oh, so-and-so is sick, I can't get there. She always had an excuse that she made up versus just saying, I'm just not up for it tonight, right? So you witnessed that her truth didn't matter. It wasn't important enough. That's it right there, right? Like if you aren't speaking directly, if you can't put this out there clearly, if your throat chakra is blocked, then likely there's a not enough wound in there, right? And so you are looking at struggling with truth telling, just blatant, clearly saying, yeah, this doesn't work for me, right? And at work, this might look like hiding your gifts, avoiding visibility, or putting out tons of content. Like if you're a, entrepreneur type, or you're a solo provider, or you are somebody that's working a lot online, like social media, you might even notice like you're never really sharing the real message. You're being indirect even in business, right? Maybe you're putting together a project at work, but it's like you're still dancing around things in a way that isn't helpful. This is a fifth chakra issue. In relationships, it can even look like silence until resentment builds and then we blow, right? Or speaking so much that what you really mean gets really drowned out. So very similar. It just shows up in your relationships and obviously causes a disconnect, which doesn't allow for those authentic relationships that you're really wanting. Now, balancing the throat chakra can start with something simple, like try speaking one honest sentence a day without apology or justification. This actually can feel pretty scary to somebody that's really shut down. Instead of saying, I'm sorry, I can't come tonight, I just got a lot going on, and then explaining yourself and getting into an explanation, I want you to call all that back. And I just want you to say, you know what, I actually need rest tonight. I'm not going to make it. Right? Simple like that. 2 sentences. That's it. That's your truth. And you'll feel the difference. Try affirming to yourself, my voice matters. My truth is important. My truth is enough, right? That's the real big one. My truth is enough. I speak my truth with clarity and love. Saying something to yourself, finding what the words are for you, to make it safe, that it's safe for me to speak with clarity and direction. All right. And now let's jump into the 6th chakra. This is the third eye chakra. This is your center for intuition and inner knowing. For empaths, this chakra is many times open because a lot of us are psychic, even if you didn't know it. But the block isn't actually intuition itself. And this is like a really big deal here. It's this little piece of gold right here, okay? When you're like, oh, I have a block, I'm not intuitive, I can't sense my intuition, I'm not getting anything. The block isn't intuition as much as it is trust. You have a trust issue. If you grew up, by the way, being gaslit, if you grew up being told you were too sensitive, you're too this or that, or that what you saw or felt wasn't real because it wasn't real for somebody else, then it makes sense that now as an adult, you second guess your inner knowing. An underactive third eye or 6th chakra can look like brain foggy, confusion, feeling unclear, constantly searching for answers outside yourself. It can be difficulty visualizing and lacking imagination. That's actually a really big one. And also this all or nothing thinking. When I'm working with people who I've been working with I've been doing energy healings for 8 years now, I can tell you with clarity that the 6th chakra is a problem for most of us. But I would say 85% of the people I see, this is one of their big issues because we are living in a world that asks so much from our 6th chakra. We have to be on all the time. We have to, thinking all the time. We have built an environment in which we live that asks so much from us, the demands upon us, that we live up in our heads in order to solve those demands, in order to meet the demands of life. And most of those demands are too much. And so we have this way of having 50 tabs open at a time, especially us women, and particularly us women, and it does a number on our 6th chakra. So as I mentioned, when you are depleted, right, you're having the withdrawal of energy. Like it's just, you're so burnt and fried in this area that you're just like can't even think, you can't visualize, you're lacking imagination. It's like a lacking of stuff, right? Also, that lack of imagination can lead to more all or nothing thinking, more black and white thinking. When it's excessive, which I see a ton, I see both a ton, but an overactive one looks like overthinking, obsessive, analyzing everything to death, right? Like I'm thinking everything through all the time. I wake up at 3 a.m. and I'm analyzing something. At work, this can show up as scatterbrained, stalling on decisions, procrastination, waiting for a sign that's never coming because you have that lack of access to your intuition. So you really just kind of like sit back and nothing comes. Or asking multiple people for advice before you take action, freezing up and hiding instead of taking that inspired action when it's aligned and you're open. The sixth chakra really allows you to see the truth of the matter. That is what the beauty of when this is balanced, or you come in and you get a healing and, all your lower centers get filled, which releases this energy center to just relax. You are suddenly just sort of seeing and sensing the world in a new way. You are open to receiving information and responding to it versus reacting to it. That's the difference. And so, when you are at work, especially if you're in a leadership role, you're less reactive. You're more responsive. And because this is all connected, by the way, right? If your sixth chakra is healthy, your fifth chakra is probably healthy, right? So your fourth chakra is probably in balance, right? So everything's feeding each other. The fourth chakra makes it safe for you to be in relationship. You are open-hearted and can be fluid in that way in the relationship. Your throat is open so you can take up space, you can be seen, heard, and known authentically, and you can allow others to be seen, heard, and known. And then when you move up into the sixth chakra, you can see the truth of what's in front of you, and you can respond to it in such a way that comes from the heart, that comes from the throat, and comes from source energy, right? You can allow that to come right through you and out, and you are in a much clearer place. That's just a different state to be when it's not blocked. In relationships, I want to mention when you have a blocked sixth chakra, it can also lead you to ignore red flags because you convince yourself you're just overreacting, right? Because you're in this trust issue with yourself. You're falling into judgment, perhaps, too. This is the other piece. You might notice that your inner judge is on fire, right? Because that heavy analytical thinking, because there's so much going on in your head, we fall into the trap of judge and jury in our heads, and it really can sever the connection with yourself, that deeper intuitive connection with self, with your energy field, with the universe, with source. It can sever your connection in relationships. So one way to strengthen this chakra is to practice tiny trust experiments. So here's one. The next time you get an intuitive nudge, I want you to pause and check in with your body. Okay? I want you just to ask yourself, like, does this feel expansive or does this feel constrictive? The reason being is a lot of people do not understand the difference between fear and intuition. And so sometimes we get really murky information when we have our sixth chakra shut down. We get more fear-based stuff, right? It's really just like coming from anxiety, worry, things like that. And sometimes it doesn't even feel like it's attached to anything. It just comes in and it feels really negative. So I want you to notice that intuition comes in, and it's when your sixth chakra is open and intuition comes in, it's expansive regardless what the information is. It's like you are getting the download of what's before you, in front of you. And because it's always going to be aligned with your soul, because that's what intuition is. Even if it's telling you to take a step in a direction that feels scary, it still feels expansive. Your intuition can also feel expansive even when it feels big, when, you're like, don't do that. That's not right for you. Even though you're like, okay, that does sound scary, it also feels right. And it feels expansive in the body because it's not just a single thought. It's an entire feeling. So your intuition can speak through your body. And so if you want to strengthen this area, of the brain. It's kind of get out of the brain, get into the body. That's really the key. Like get out of the brain into the body, and you actually relieve the sixth chakra. When we talk about the seventh next, which we're about to dive into, we're going to go through a quick little activation for you. I'm going to walk you step by step through just a brief activation for each of the chakras for you to just do quickly that can help you open things up. And it helps to open all of them. It makes it, if you want to open your sixth chakra, open all of them. It helps get everything into balance, so that takes the pressure off your sixth chakra. Because if you think about it, if that fifth chakra is closed down because you can't speak your truth and you can't say the things and all the things we talked about, then imagine, how is the energy moving? If it's closed or it's stuck, right? Then that sixth chakra is probably getting kind of stuck too, right? Let's look at a river and you've got this huge block, they build a wall. And so the water just keeps pooling and pooling and pooling, until it starts to overflow. And this is the similar thing with this sixth chakra. If your fifth chakra is blocked and if your heart is blocked, then it all affects the sixth chakra as well. And so we want to do the whole body when you do a quick reconnect. Okay, so let's talk about the crown chakra. Right? This is connection and purpose. This is you're connecting to something greater, call it spirit, call it universe, call it God, call it higher self, whatever resonates with you. When the crown is depleted, you might feel lost. You might feel disconnected, like life has no deeper meaning anymore. You might feel burnout. Like this is totally where burnout shows up. Sometimes it's even spiritual cynicism. Right? And it's depleted. It can really feel like, I don't even know if I can believe in anything anymore. Or what I think is more realistic for most of us that are listening is you once felt magical and you don't anymore. And you're like, did I even? You start to question, like, did that really even happen to me? Like, was I actually really that magical? Or like, you don't feel it, so you don't know it, right? Even though like last year you had this crazy experience, kismet, about your whole world came, into this beautiful place that you just loved it. You had this huge intuitive experience, all these little magical gifts, that the world keeps giving us. You see signs, you hear from loved ones that have passed on. You have all these beautiful things that might be coming through to you. But when you get depleted in your crown chakra, it's almost like you forget. It's like, I don't even know if that's happening to me anymore. I feel like, you start to lose trust. Did that really even happen? So on the flip side, when it's overactive, you might float off into sort of bypassing. So let's talk about this. When it's overactive, you might be working very hard to stay in a very high vibe and be very spiritual while ignoring the very real human work that has to be done here. This can look like, on one hand, just blaming God, blaming the angels or the fairies instead of taking responsibility in your life. It can really look like just sort of, instead of being on the path that is all about taking responsibility, it can be on a blaming others. You're not in this place where you're open to receiving energy in the same way. And so everything's getting really stuck in the body energetically. So all the chakras are kind of feeling that. But it's almost like this fake sense of spirituality. You're hyper-focused on spirituality, but you aren't truly in the genuine flow of it. You aren't truly open-hearted in it. You aren't truly doing your work and taking responsibility for your life and for your actions and your words. And narcissism comes into play here often. So the shadow here can come from trauma or loss, that you've had in your life that left you feeling really abandoned. Maybe abandoned by God, maybe by life itself. But in business, the crown block might look like chasing your purpose, but never quite landing on it. Always questioning if you're on the right path. In relationships, it might show up as avoiding intimacy. Because if it's excessive, it would be like, I'm disconnecting because I'm so spiritual and you're not, kind of thing. Or giving your power away to teachers or gurus instead of trusting your own connection. And that's something I see all the time, where people are just looking always for somebody else to come in and teach them. And now teachers and gurus, I'm not saying they're bad. I'm one myself. I'm not a guru, but a teacher. But I do see it a lot where we're constantly handing our power over to others. And then we see this when we look at cults and places where people are really just handing over their power, their spiritual power to others. And so this is where you really have to start working on trusting your own connection. Now, balancing the crown chakra is all about grounding your spirituality instead of just imagining it floating up in the world and you're flying high. You're really bringing this into daily life. And that's part of what opens up the crown chakra, is doing the work of responsibility, by the way. That might be through your work, through relationships, through acts of service. You can really start to open up the crown chakra by really bringing in safety in the body around being connected. This sounds weird, but a lot of us are in a I don't know state out of habit. And if we peel back, like, what is the pain wound underneath that? Like, what would it mean for you to know? And I'll ask people that sometimes, who are like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, what would it mean for you to know? Is that scary, right? To actually trust it and have an answer might be something you're rejecting unconsciously. And so getting into sooner to doing the affirmation work of I am connected to source, I am guided, I am supported, it's safe for me to be supported, it's safe for me to receive the answers, I am safe receiving the answers. And so really sitting and meditating and opening up that chakra is that seventh chakra, and imagining light coming through and just opening yourself up and saying, I'm safe to receive, I'm safe to know the answers. Now, I want to do a really quick, so if you're driving, of course, don't close your eyes. If this feels too meditative, stop it, pause it for another time. We're just doing a few steps that you can do to balance out your chakras, okay? These are the upper chakras we're working on today. So I want you to start by just taking in a really beautiful, nice, deep breath. We're going to help you to express yourself more fully, trust your intuition, and connect with your purpose and love. And that is through the upper chakras. So we're going to just go ahead and take another deep breath, really deep. So your heart just opens up, that whole chest spreads open. People with a collapsed heart chakra tend to hunch. So I really want you to check that posture of yours. And I want you to imagine your chest opening like a flower. Like perhaps it was like the petals were closed and now it's all opening up. And now I want you to breathe in and say, I give and receive love in balance. I am open to connection. I give and receive love in balance. I am open to connection. I am committed to receiving gracefully. And then you're just taking a nice deep breath and you're just imagining that heart chakra just getting bigger. That flower that's blossoming is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until energy is shooting everywhere. And now we're going to activate your throat chakra. So go ahead and take another nice deep breath. And I want you just to gently hum or speak aloud a word that resonates with you. I'm going to say the word truth. And I just want you to say the word truth. And I want you to speak it out loud. And next, I'm going to have you say, it is safe to speak my truth. Now I want you to imagine this beautiful blue light, sky, blue light. The heart is green, by the way. I didn't mention that. This beautiful blue light coming in to your throat chakra, and your whole throat is starting to just really open up like the ocean. All this blue sky, blue ocean water just coming right through this chakra. And you're acknowledging for this moment that as you breathe in and that chakra just starts to expand, the energy even goes in front of you, behind you, beside you. That blue light is now everywhere. And that is making space for honest expression. And then you say to yourself, I speak my truth with clarity and love. It's safe for me to speak my truth. I will not hide my authenticity. It really is such an important part of you. speaking your truth, saying who you are, what your feelings are, what your thoughts are. They matter so, so much. So then next, I want you to tune into your third eye. This is the center of your forehead. And you're just going to close your eyes if you can. And you're just going to focus between your eyebrows. And you're just going to visualize a gentle little indigo blue light guiding your intuition and clarity. So I just want you to imagine it's in the center of your forehead, this little blue light. And I just want you to go ahead and breathe in. It's safe for me to know. Breathe in again. And as you say, it's safe for me to know. Imagine this light spreading. It's like the size of a dime, and then it starts to be a quarter, and then it starts to be, a cup, and then it starts to be a plate. It just gets bigger and bigger. And that pineal gland in there is starting to vibrate, and this stuff is starting to move, and energy is starting to move from the heart and the throat. And you're allowing the sixth chakra to be in balance by saying, I trust my inner guidance and my vision is clear. I trust my inner guidance and my vision is clear. It's safe for my vision to be clear. Take another deep breath, connecting to your crown chakra, the very top of your head. You're going to imagine a violet or white light above your head. And you're going to imagine that light is a direct connection to your higher guidance, to source, your higher self, to God. This beautiful light is your connection. And you are just simply breathing it in, visualizing this energy flowing down into your body. It's literally swirling in through the top of your head and going down what's a life force energy line right through the center of your body, like a pole going down, down, down to the ground. And then it spreads. As you breathe in this beautiful violet or white light, it's making its way down this pole through the center of your body and spreading out everywhere after. Everywhere. It is literally letting your cells know that it's safe for you to be open to your gifts. And then you just say, I honor both the earthly and spiritual in equal measure. I honor all parts of me, all of my gifts. And then last, just take a deep breath and feel your upper chakras aligned. Visualize them aligned. Imagine that they're aligned. Your communication, your intuition is clear. Your heart is open to love. Imagine your heart just being so open. If you're having a hard time with that, just bring in gratitude. Think of somebody you adore, you love. Bring in the most purest form of love that you can imagine. And just focus gratitude on that. If that's hard, focus on something that's really simple. Gratitude for the car that you're in, the chair you're sitting in, the room you have that you're in right now, the clothes you have on your body, how beautiful things are all around you. So there you have it, your upper chakras. When they're blocked or imbalanced, you really feel it. Okay. And so this little exercise hopefully helps you just feel a little bit. If you can do it later again, this is something you could do we did that in 5 minutes or less. The goal isn't perfection. It's awareness. So which upper chakras spoke to you loudest today? Take a note of that, because the more aware you become of your stuff, the more imbalance and more stuff starts to open up and move. And so what's one small practice you can try to bring it back into balance? I've said a lot, maybe you just choose one. What is the chakra that stands out to you the most? And what can you do to bring some attention to it? If this episode resonated with you, make sure you go back and listen to part 1 on the lower chakras, where we explored how attachment styles that you have, right? Intimacy, money live in your root, sacral, and solar plexus. Together, these 2 episodes give you the full picture of your energetic story, right? This mini-series kind of gives you a roadmap to understanding where your energy is blocked, where your boundaries need attention, where you can reclaim alignment in these different areas of work and relationships and self-love too. And also, I want to tell you, I do have another episode that I think you might really like if you like listening about the chakras. It's called Empath, Heal Your Health Issues by Understanding Your Chakra Story. That's number 29. So go check out episode number 29 because it's going to really dive into your health issues. And we didn't talk about that here today. That's totally different. And it'll kind of give you an idea of like what's going on in your body and where are the blocks. So thank you as always for listening. I'm so freaking appreciative of you. I hope you have a beautiful week. All the stuff I mentioned, the episodes will be in the show notes. So I love you. Have a beautiful week. Bye for now. Thank you for joining me on Into the Work, Therapy for Empaths and Seekers. If this episode spoke to you, please follow the podcast and leave a review. It is the best way to spread this healing work to other women. Your presence here matters. Step into your power, heal your soul, and rise with women who are doing the same. Keep joining us every week, and together we can heal the world. If you're ready to dive deeper, grab your free Shadow Work Transformation Bundle in the show notes, and I will look forward to seeing you next week.